What is my vision for the world? A world where we learn to get out of this and into this. I yearn for a world where we teach our children the difference between confidence and ego. A world where we teach our kids the difference between judgment and discernment. A world where we teach our kids the difference between arrogance and just having really firm boundaries. Because, you know, I'm really lucky here because I'm in a room full of people who understand, who get it. Light workers, the term so many of us use nowadays. But I also yearn for a world where we stop making this massive judgment where light is better than dark. Why are we calling ourselves light workers? We're all afraid of shadow. We're terrified of shadow. It's just the yin and the yang. There's no such thing. The light is no better than the dark. If you have no shadow, you are not standing in the light. I want a world where we teach people balance, because it's only through that level of discernment, whether it's the difference between confidence and ego, judgment and discernment, you know, the goodness of light and the scariness of dark, all of that stuff, until we find that balance, until we learn that each one of us every day are walking a knife edge, until we learn that balance, we cannot move forwards. Until we find that balance, until we get out of our own way, until we stop stopping ourselves, we can't get there. But that takes courage. That takes immense courage. I cannot tell you the amount of light workers who over the years have had an issue with me, because I stand up here and I have confidence because I know who I am and I know my message, and I trust that if my message runs out, my spirits, the universe, God, whatever you call it, will send a message through my lips, that I can be the channel for that message. And I can't tell you how many light workers have looked at me standing in confidence, standing in my own power, and immediately called me down for being in ego. And there is a difference. And we need to learn that. So many light workers are holding themselves back and keeping themselves small because they are afraid of being called out for being in ego. In just the same way, so many people are holding themselves back and keeping themselves small because they are afraid of judgment. There's that old phrase, isn't there? Never judge a book by its cover. When we walk into a bookstore, we don't look at a book and say, I'm judging you. We go, yeah, I'm making a discernment. Don't fancy that one. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with that book. It's not actually a judgment. It's a discernment. There's a difference. Any one of you could stand up here and talk about your products, your services, your work, your vision for the future, and anyone else here could be sitting and thinking, that doesn't resonate with me, or it's not the right time for me. It does not mean we're being judged, and yet we are afraid to speak our truth because we're afraid of judgment. We need to learn that line too. Until we can find that truth, we can't tap into that pot of inner awesome I believe we all have. I believe that every one of us has the potential to unleash our awesome, or awesomeness, to be proper with the English. But you know, that just doesn't scan as well, and that would look crap on a t-shirt. Yeah. And that's a discernment. Until we learn that line, until we learn that balance, until even when we look at all of the massive teachers in our life, if we look at Mother Earth, who in the medicine wheel I work with sits opposite Grandfather Fire, until we look at the beautiful powers of water in the south and the air in the north, until we are able to look at why those elements, those massive elemental teachers, are opposite each other, we can't find that balance. So when I'm teaching the medicine wheel, we start in the east, we start in the fire, because everything begins with that fire. I'm teaching opposites, because the grounded nature of Mother Earth holds that fire in check. There's that knife edge, because fire sustains us, it helps us to grow, it impassions us, it empowers us. It can also burn, it can also tip us into ego and drama And that fuels all that drama addiction that we have in the Western world. And if we move straight from some of those powers in the East, from all that fire that so many of us, let's be honest, really get off on, if we move straight in from there into the waters of emotion, ooh, that can be tricky. You know, the waters in the South, and they hold all those teachings about victim versus warrior, hunter versus hunted. That can just fuel all those fire energies because the knife edge disappears. We go from the fiery energies of the East into the grounded, holding energies of the earth, and they then balance each other. Without fire, we can step into Mother Earth and slip into inertia. The fire wakes that up. If we step into all those teachings about water and emotion, if we don't have the clarity that comes with the air in the north, being able to take the eagle's view and see what's really going on, being able to get that distance, that chief energy, if we don't learn that it's so easy to tip into secondary game, to wallow in our negativity, to wallow in our negative emotions, to sit there and recognise that actually if we sit in that cesspit of depression, it gives us so much secondary gain. I can't go to work today, I'm too upset. I can't come to that party with you tonight, I wouldn't make good company. I can't possibly go and earn my keep because I'm too sad. We can wallow without the balance and the clarity of the north that teaches us that knife edge again. That actually, tears can be good, but we need to find that knife edge balance between wallowing and drowning in those tears and recognising that actually tears are just emotion. And too many unshed tears drown the heart. We need to find that balance. And if we went right into the north, into that place of clarity, that high, high place, if we didn't have the teachings of the South and all that raw emotion, we could sit high up on that pedestal until we crash down when somebody kicks that ego out from beneath our feet. All of these things, we are surrounded from the day we are born with massive elemental teachings. The elements teach us, the animals teach us, the ancestors teach us, the green road teaches us, the red road teaches us. We're surrounded by teachings in nature from the day we're born. And yet, we learn from that box that sits in the corner of our living room. And until we get out from behind that, until we learn the balance that nature teaches us, and until we learn about the balance that sits within us all, we can't tap into our power. So that is my dream. I want to get to a place where we all recognise that knife edge. I want to get to a place where we all recognise how to tap into our power, how we can learn to be powerful rather than powerful. You know? I want a Hogwarts in every town and every world across, in every place across the world. And it's not about pills and potions. It's not about Wingardium Leviosa. It's about learning from the magic that exists every day. I call it magic. You might call it nature. That's my vision.